for another insightful conversation as we prepare to explore why industry-academia collaborations matter. And I would like to invite on stage Dr. Dilip Nandkeolyar. Please come on stage. Can we have a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? Director, IMM Business School. For the next presentation, I request Dr. Dilip to please come on stage. A huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hello, everybody. I know there's been a lot of wisdom just shared before me by Mr. Rao. I don't know if I'm going to be that wise. What I'm going to try to do is, last 2 days we have been talking about back and forth about what should be the future like, and do we resist this, do we accept this? We're talking about human skills, etc., but nobody seems to be talking about what is now. So can we? So I'm really not getting into a lot of gyan throwing and all that. What I'm trying to say is what and how I feel management education must go. Dr. Nandini said if she's here, I mean, obviously that school is a good one, and we at IMM do respect that school, but I don't see her here. It would have been nice if we could exchange some notes. So what I am trying to say is we have been talking about industry and education. I'm sorry, I can't do this Man Ki Baat from here type, so I like to move around a bit. So basically what I'm trying to say is how do we get industry and academia together, okay, because it's important. If we, I mean, why India? Why not entire South Asia? Why not the entire world get together and do things? It's all about collaboration in any case. But very often, I mean, I won't say it happens only in India, since I have taught in some of the B schools abroad, Australia, UK, Malaysia, and some countries in Africa. And I seem to find some commonalities where the corporate thinks we are a bunch of fools researching, writing a whole lot of, I don't know, I mean, sorry to use the word shit, putting it in some academic journals, which nobody wants to read. And that is true, because even we as academicians, do we read it? We only read it when we have to write our own research paper, otherwise we don't do anything. Okay, so it's, to me, that's useless literature. I mean, I have been writing research papers because my increment, my promotions, everything depends on it, thanks to the education policy that Mr. Rao just talked about it. There are a lot of lacunas there, we will not go there, though. So I would like educationists come forward and be understood by the corporates, recognized by the corporates. Those who we think are the gurus are not gurus because they wrote research papers and those huge, huge books. They are research gurus because the industry respects them. That's the consumer. So how do we get? That's what the industry thinks. And we think, the academicians think, this industry, they're wild. They don't care about the morals and the ethics and what not. I mean, just now we were talking about the ethics of ChatGPT and we got to embrace it. Why? Why we got to embrace it? Because now we can't help it. The end product, as somebody said, that our students are end product, has to be consumed by that consumer. So where is the ethics? Where is this? So I just want to propose a way to go about it where industry, academia must work together, and that's the importance. In not just updating the curriculum, as we talked about, updating the pedagogy and all that, but in making it meaningful for both the stakeholders. And incidentally also, therefore, law. Okay. Because the law must, in any case, emerge from what we do socially. It can't be law on one side. We are just seeing what happens when law happens on one side without being political about it. So this is what we are talking about, the challenges and the opportunities that we have and the way we are trying to do it in our institute. That's the thing. If you find those practices good, please use them. If you think we can improve it, please tell us. So these are the things that we will talk. Industry, academia, collaboration. We'll be talking about 2 companies with whom we have signed an MOU later on. One of them is a startup which is in the mobility space, and the other one is in the finance space. Okay. The benefits that the society, I'm not talking of us as educationists only, but as a society we can work together and contribute. And anything meaningful that has ever to come into the society, or anything good that has ever happened, has to satisfy all the stakeholders. The degrees may vary. Then some practices that we have had, we are trying to implement and implement very hard. My team is here, all of them are pushing very hard. We are about research, it's not that we are giving up research, but then we would rather get into something which is more relevant and action research. And then what are the challenges that these IACs have? So here is it. I mean, that's the definition, so I don't want to get into it. It's a partnership that we strike. And then modern education, this collaboration becomes more relevant and more forward-looking. If ChatGPT is like in one of the panels Mr. Raghunandan just discussed, is the way that he is looking at it, so be it. So why don't we learn alongside the industry? Why do we have to just keep it to the curriculum, which is important, like Dr. Nandini said, that, I have a way of putting this. Taj Mahal is a beautiful monument. Everybody praises it. Right, Mr. Rao? Would you like to say it is true? And it has lasted for centuries, right? Beautiful architecture. Accepted. Industry, anybody who does not want to accept it? Nobody talks about the foundation that made it last. Nobody talks about that. Is academics. It is the foundation on which beautiful things can be built. Okay? And that foundation automatically will subsume if we are not living in those silos or those 2 compartments. If we are not living in those 2 compartments where academic thinks these guys are brats and the brats think these guys are oldies who don't want to do things. If we come together, and obviously since the responsibility of knowledge building lies in the court of the academicians, we got to bend, not the industry. Oh, of course, over time they would also bend, but we need to bend, reach out to them, rather than write in silos some academic paper with half of it, perhaps even the author doesn't understand, or he has understood, or she has understood, and then forgotten all about it. So that's what we were looking at. So here is it. This is what is the significance, enhancing the relevance. The first thing, let's get into relevant education, not just pure, what should I say, literacy. Now I have a way to describe what is being highly literate. There can be somebody highly and super highly literate, but there is no superlatives to educated. Now how, I like to define this. A highly literate person is the one who knows all the principles, all the theories, all everything, and can even apply it. To me, an educated person is one who has these 2 things, but has 3 more things. First, the curiosity of a 6-year-old. goes seeking all along. Because he has the curiosity, he must have the humility to be able to go and learn from any source. It doesn't matter what is the level, it's not the professors only who can teach, it can be a rickshawala on the streets who can teach. And often in our LinkedIn we see all these, but we don't bring it to the classroom. And because he has these two, and those two of a highly literate, he must have the gumption to challenge the status quo. Ask what if not. If these 5 characters you see in anybody, he is educated, it doesn't mean that he has to get a degree. We in IMM are trying to work towards that. We haven't succeeded, but we will. That is for sure. Now, that is what it means if our students, if our youth, or why youth, don't go on my beard, I'm as young as them, if I can get an industry practitioner come to my college and speak, what does it mean to the student? Nothing. He's gone and given a lot of gyan. One person came, one of these practitioners came, this तुम्हारा degree कुछ नहीं होगा, तुमको कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. This is poppycock. You know, he's forgotten that his Taj Mahal was also built on that platform. Okay, so let's not get into all that. This is what. Now, if there is any question, but before that, I'm happy that to support us, and this is the support we need from corporate world, Ms. Aanchal Andrews has come here from Sartan. Please stand up. Okay. Thank you, Aanchal, for supporting us like that. They're working with us day and night, so is GrowFi. And we are trying to work with them 24/7. I think my team feels that they can wake up Aanchal in the middle of the night, even if she's having some beautiful dreams, and she can do vice versa. So I'm ready for any questions that you might like to ask. I have not gone into any psychology or all that high funda stuff because I don't know them. I was just telling Tushar that I've got one egg, I boil it, sometimes fry it, sometimes make an omelette out of it, sometimes make scrambled, sometimes egg curry, and that's what I try to do. I'm not going to invent some earth-shaking things until I can make all these to perfection. Thank you. Yeah. See, this is what are the reasons. Okay, just before you make the comment. These are 6 reasons where, another thing that's happening is that if the corporate world has to go to give a project, they may be right, but they will only go to those top tier IIMs, IITs and all. I've got a problem with that.
Yeah.
There is a quote, the tagline, which is used by Avis, or was used by Avis, and was also used by one of the candidates to US presidential election. It was, yes, we are number 2, but we try harder. Is corporate not missing out on that? Come to Pune, Mr. Sathe is here. He'll probably tell me out how many IIMs and IIT graduates are roaming the streets of Pune uselessly. And in any case, what are we trying to fund, at least in terms of India? These institutes join the corporates or do internship in corporates only to finally fly out to US. We are wasting money. Come to us, we will work harder and we'll stay here with you. And these are things that we do. Diverse perspective. These are students who will come probably from tier 2, tier 3 cities where the pains are felt much more. Therefore, it is an untapped potential, flexibility and If I am bad, if I am not IIM, a student, forget about the faculty, we anyway agree. If I am not IIM, I know I have to run that extra mile. And I know I have to think much more than the person who's got that qualification. Regional expertise they bring because they come from those, I mean, my B school might have a regional thing. Okay, we have students from all over the country, but primarily from this. So there is a regional expertise. While we can say that we must have an intercultural, interaction, it is also true that we must first be cleaning up our own home, and therefore regional expertise is important. Social impact, obviously, and this is it. Therefore, the growth opportunity. We talk about big time in India that we have got a demographic dividend and we can do this and we are the largest market, largest population. What the hell are we doing? With 42% as per CMIE unemployment, what are we doing? We are not tapping them properly. We are not training them properly. And by training... No, I will. I must be allowed to, I like your interjections, but sometimes we kind of overdo it. So let's... Yeah, that's right. So let's not overdo it. Let's not do it. Okay. So I'm just trying to say that dividend, if we cannot productively utilize as academia and the industry, then it would be a real shame, because this is only for next 10 years. After that, we will get older. Yes, sir.
Dr. Dilip, you've said many things, and a lot of them are useful and thought-provoking, etc. But I think you were sort of looking at me at every time when you had something critical to talk about, maybe the system or the governance or your experience with one of those universities. But let me tell you one thing here, that critical analysis helps improve, develop lacuna. But if you were to look at things in a perspective which is devoid or lacking in hope, then you cannot improve the system. Recently, I was sitting, and I want to be a little candid about it, and most people are quiet and they don't talk about it. I was sitting with a judge in Bangalore, a retired one, who spoke about so many other things that required attention, and that was not all well and not all healthy, and so on and so forth. I never commented. So he asked me, you've been in that court for such a long time and you perceive so many things, and not all is hunky-dory. Why didn't you comment about what I said? So I said, sir, I have a habit. Either I can speak good things or I remain silent about things that are negative. But having said that, the best way to improve a situation is to do it with a sense of hope, with a solution. It's better to light a candle than to curse the darkness. And that's an idea that I would like to share.
So I cannot agree with you more, sir. And that is exactly what I said, that NEP 2020 envisages but not completely implementable. What we are trying to do here is that hope that we are reaching out ourselves, and I'm requesting all my colleagues here that they should do the same. It is our turn now. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm saying that if we cannot hold our today, hopes of tomorrow gets that much distant.
I would still like to comment something.
Yeah, please.
All institutions together will reach a common goal. We can't be only IMM is doing everything. It's totality. We have to go with
Very well said.
At times you say something, it contradicts your own. Sorry to say that. One should be vocal about it. I'm totally a young faculty, so I have no issues. Anybody can. Volunteer guys can never be fired. So my way of looking things is to add value and improve things.
So this is
one institution will do everything.
Did you?
Very important.
Can I go back? No, I'm not saying that. Uh,
Where do your top management?
I've said some of the practices at IME.
I go to 20 institutions.
Ek minute.
Everybody's doing the same.
Ek minute.
But how will we do it? That is the crux. Nobody's
So that's what. Can I answer? So that's what I'm saying. Firstly, I did not say that we are the only institute. We are not the only bright guys going. All right. So fine. Now we are doing it, and I explained the thing that we are batting most for. We are doing it from whatever I've heard from the corporates, they are not. So I am just saying that if you like it, please introduce it. If you think you're already doing it, very good. Where have I said that I am the only guy doing it? Where have I said that? If you go to those 20 institutes and all are doing it, let's clap hands that I am on the same page as you. If they are not, and if they think it will make sense to them, go suggest to them. That's it. Yes.
Dr. Dilip, thank you for the chance for me to add some comments to this debate. Just for those who perhaps haven't heard me speak before, I come from Australia, and around the first 20 years of my career was involved in dealing with business houses and in marketing and management. I also had my own advertising agency as a 25-year-old. Moving on from there, I moved into education in my mid-30s, and since the last 30 years involved in education, capacity building and training. So having exposure on both the, shall we say, the corporate side of the market as well as the education side of the market, there is a common refrain that has been taking place at least the last 30 years. And that is, how do we educationists deliver education which is pertinent and relevant to the moving and the advancing of our industry and our commerce? And so the need for us to communicate regularly with our corporate partners and form corporate partnerships is critical to stay up to date for the benefit of our primary stakeholders, who are the students. We're all here for the primary stakeholders, for the students. As an educationist, I see myself in a position of not being so worried about my income, but more concerned about the outcome.
True.
What is the benefit for the student? Now, no matter how hard we try, how much networking can we do in the industry sector? For example, management covers a huge range of applications, whether it's engineering, electronics, avionics. Management is applicable in so many, in fact, in nearly every industry sector, there is an element of management critical. So how to apply ourselves industry specific? It's a very difficult mandate to do. Ask the government, for example, where do they draw their inspiration to write up the syllabi for the public education implementation? Where do they go? They go maybe to the industry seniors or the big boys, but are we missing one point? And the main point I want to make here is how many of us are focusing on capacity building the young ones for entrepreneurship? The ability to create business, to create wealth and build new ideas based on sound management principles, but creating wealth and creating opportunities rather than just simply grooming ourselves to be somebody else's slave, working for someone else and being employed by someone else. Why do we have so many unemployed people? Because they've been brought through the paradigm of training to get a job. Why not lift that standard and train them to become young entrepreneurs, use the ideas, take advantage of the opportunities that are clearly coming up and being entrepreneurs as well. So that's just a point I'd like to add to this narrative. Thank you so much, Dr.
Couldn't agree with you more. Thank you.
I would like to, if you permit me, I would like to share an insight with you. And I would like to have your insight on Bangladesh. You see, we have been working in this area to develop human capabilities for a long time. And now we are in a situation where we have got 85% of our population are working in the informal labor sector. So as you know that the income generation out of this informal sector will not lead us to towards further development. And now the country is working towards, we have realized that we need to generate our formal sector, we must further improve our skills and development, so on. And to that end, we have done at the macro level quite a few good things, like we have done our policy and we have established a skills development authority and so on. But the problem is, there are many problems, but one of the most important problem I feel is the delivery, how you deliver the skills, the market demanded skills to the rural areas. Because the kind of infrastructure we have, it can cater the needs of the townships to a limited extent. But the majority of women and majority of economic activities are happening in the rural areas, and there are a serious transportation problem, access problem, and so on. So this is a big problem, and a lot of models are being tried, but we are still do not know how effectively we can reach those areas. So I was wondering how this academia and the different institutions and different delivery organizations can work together to increase this outreach. That's what.
Yeah, it's a very valid point, and India is not too different if we believe that 70% of Indian population is in the rural area or the urban area. Okay, so Delhi, Bombay, Pune, Hyderabad don't really work, and these markets are anyway saturated. The growth could be 1-2%, but we all want to run here because we believe that the jobs are here, and therefore the migration is happening, but now reverse migration, at least in India, is beginning. So what we can do, as industry and academia, during these MSIPs, as we like to call it, study this as a problem statement from the corporate. I'll just study this as a problem, and thereby sensitize our youth to go back to the villages and try to sort the problem. An example from Pune, there's that school is no more because the founder is no more, and he didn't have children, and he didn't. It was called Sadhana Center of Leadership and Management Development. They went to a village near a tourist location called Mahabaleshwar on the way. Why? And this was the problem, that how do we look at it? There was no transportation, no anything. The entire project was done multidimensionally. Just to answer his question, I'm not the first one suggesting it, but I'm the one who's definitely in the forefront of advocating it. This group of 12 students, looking at it from multiple sources, have converted that entire economy. And today it's completely, in many fashion, self-sustaining. The guys who went out of that village to Bombay and Pune have returned and are now getting into, first it all started with tourism, now they are getting into some enterprises, and the opportunities are growing. If you are in India and if you can visit Tirupur, very far from Delhi, and therefore we can have academics who say, how do you know you're the only one? If you can go to Tirupur, it's a organization in itself with several micro enterprises. That is something which Bangladesh has. You have already overtaken us, India, in the textiles. That is our textile thing. Perhaps some of it is being done. Why can't we send our professional students to study it and see how it can be done better? Then the skilling happens. Lower down, you can't expect the lower down people to start thinking. So if we have got management, we have got engineering, we have got law, we have got all this, just this last. Then let's put them together to solve the problem and create. Yep. So we can, Achal, I'm sorry, we can always discuss offline. Thank you very much, and again my appeal to you, if there is something we can do to improve this, please do come forward. And if there are some corporates here in this place, please help us implement some of this. Thank you.